Welcome to Soul Inspirit, where spirituality meets real life. I'm Summer Paradiso, a psychic medium, intuitive guide, yoga teacher, and artist here to help you reconnect with your highest self. Here, we dive into the practices that strengthen your connection to intuition, higher self, spirit, and source. We'll explore my signature Soul Inspirit method, a fusion of movement, meditation, and creative expression designed to help you release emotional blocks and reclaim your power. Because to move through life with alignment and ease, we must first embrace vulnerability. Whether you're just spiritually curious or fully immersed in the ocean of woo-woo, this is your space to explore grounded spirituality. Expect soulful convos, real-life stories, creative tangents, and grounded practices to support your transformation. So take a deep breath, grab your coffee, tea, or whatever keeps you sane, and let's explore how to bring more magic, meaning, and soul alignment into your everyday life. Let's do this. Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to today's episode of Soul Inspirit. I'm your host, Summer Paradiso, and today I'm really excited to talk to you about the walk for peace. If you haven't been online or paying attention, there have been 19 monks walking from Fort Worth, Texas to Washington, D.C., and they have just concluded their 2,300-mile walking journey in D.C. I have been taken with this journey because the message is simple. It is walking for peace. And these monks have walked through all of the weather elements, especially the snow that has hit America recently. It has been so frigid cold, and they have walked through all of it with their precious dog. If you've been following them, you know how compelling this journey has been and what a beautiful glimmer of hope it has given us in our current state of society. This kept me wanting to get on Instagram or Facebook because you could simply scroll to find the bright orange of the monks sandwiched between the posts that bring your vibration down. And so I have looked up the Walk for Peace and their journey and looked at their posts and seen where they have been staying and how their days went and who they ran into. And just seeing the people lining up city after city, and gosh, the children giving out chapstick and bananas and all these offerings for the monks. It has just been so beautiful. And it's really taken me back to when I traveled Southeast Asia after teaching English in India. I saw lots of monks in Thailand, Cambodia, Laos. And I remember early in the mornings, them coming out from the monastery and walking, and people in the streets giving them and offering them food. And it was always just so beautiful to see them literally in this glowing morning light in their orange robes, blessing these people on the side of the road while they offered them rice or whatever food. It was always so moving to me. And another reason why this journey just really took my attention to another level is because I learned to meditate on a Buddhist monastery in Thailand. And these monks are from a Vipassana center in Fort Worth, Texas. I was just taken back to when I did learn how to meditate, which was on a 10-day silent retreat on this Buddhist monastery. And the impact that had on my life was immeasurable. And one of the biggest messages from that retreat in learning meditation was this concept of loving kindness and how powerful it really is and how challenging it is when you have blocks or resistance towards specific people, places, or things. It is quite challenging to send loving kindness to people, places, and things that have caused you harm or suffering. On a different note, I went to my husband about a week and a half ago after sobbing watching one of their posts, because truly I cried at every post that they put on Instagram about their journey. But I went to my husband and I said, I have to see the monks. And that specific day, they were in Richmond, and I knew I couldn't just drive up to Richmond that day, but I knew that they were going to Washington, D.C. to finish their journey. And he said, okay. And I said, no, really, like, I need to go see the monks and I want to bring my daughter. And he was like, okay. And so that day we scheduled a hotel and planned for me and my daughter to go to DC to see these monks, because something about it, I was like, I have to go and she has to go too. And then I realized too, my mom has also been following the monks, and I said, let's make it a 3-generation girls trip. And so I just got home 2 days ago from that journey. And I just wanted to share how moving it was. And I knew that I would get emotional seeing them walk, because peace is what we need right now. And it's always what we need, isn't it? There's always something. But right now feels especially heavy. And as we waited on the side of the road on Constitution, we stood there among the museums and in front of the mall and waited for them to walk down. And we saw the orange in the distance. We saw more people gathering along the side of the road. And I'm getting emotional just thinking back on it now, because they were literally just walking, but the power, oh God, was just insane. And so you see the monks, there's security everywhere, because as this was the end of their journey, they knew there would be thousands of people. And we were there for this morning part where they were marching, walking towards the Capitol building. And what I didn't realize was that after the monks were walking, we're waving, my daughter's waving, she has a little fairy wand that she's waving at them, and one of the monks even waved at her. But after the monks was a line from edge of the road to edge of the road with a sign that said, "Walk for peace." And behind it were hundreds of people walking. And it was like quiet. So it took me a second to realize, like, oh my God, we can walk with them. And maybe other people knew this was happening. I just missed the memo, but I put my daughter in the stroller, and my mom, her, and I, we walked. And there were other monks in the crowd. There were people of all shapes, sizes, colors, ages, and we were all just walking. Gosh, and I have to keep pausing the recording because I keep getting so emotional again where I just need to cry and like release. And whether or not you want to listen to me cry about the monks is up to you. You can just press stop. But the energy of walking with these hundreds of people behind these monks, who some of them were barefoot, by the way. I know when they were walking through the snow and stuff, I saw pictures of them with shoes, but a lot of them were barefoot, especially the front one, Bhikkhu Panakara. And it was just this palpable energy. My body was vibrating and I was just sobbing. My mom is sobbing, and then my daughter's in her stroller living her best life. She's waving to everyone and waving her wand, and it is just the most beautiful thing. And we get to the Capitol building after a long walk. I think about a mile. I say a long walk. They just walked 2,300 miles, and we're like, a long walk, a mile. But it was like time stood still as we walked there together with these hundreds of people and thousands of people. Like, it just kept getting bigger. And we arrived at the Capitol building, and there was just this big pause there. And I knew that they were going to stop and have lunch and then finish their walk later. And we just paused in front of the Capitol building, and it was just so interesting as we approached it, because we kind of peeled off to the side. And so we see these monks standing in front of the Capitol building, and it was just an indescribable feeling of hope. On another note, to throw some levity in here, if you know me well, you know that my favorite movie is Forrest Gump. And if you're listening, you're like, what? Why is she bringing up Forrest Gump? Well, because I'm standing there crying. My mom is standing there misty-eyed. We're all just standing in this crowd of people looking at the monks who have paused in front of the Capitol building. And all of a sudden, I hear next to me is this guy's voice, and he goes, I'm pretty tired. I think I'll go home now. And I just died laughing, because that is a quote from Forrest Gump, in case you have not seen the movie. And it just brought in the fact that, like, this can be joyous too. It was just a perfect timed moment. And I just really appreciate that random stranger who said that. And it was a fun connection. And, we continued on. So after that, my mom and I and my daughter all went. We had donuts, although my daughter didn't eat her donut, even though it was delicious. She took a bite and spit it out. And luckily, I was channeling the Buddhist peaceful energy, so I just ate the donut and ended up feeling like I was in a diabetic coma for the rest of the day. But the effects of these monks on anyone who joined live, walking with them, anyone who interacted with them in the streets, anyone who has even seen a post about them, is being affected by this vibrational energy. Just interacting with this purpose of peace is raising the vibration of whoever it touches. And I just wanted to talk about this because I want you to remember, when you start doom scrolling or getting into an argument on Facebook with someone, remember that the more you can raise your vibration, the more that will ripple outward. And I can feel maybe some of you rolling your eyes or being like, Summer, how are you just like raising your vibration with the stuff that's in the news right now? And I would say it is very hard. And I would say that it is also imperative that you do it, because if you do not take the time to do the things that bring you back to center, whether for me it's painting or yoga or moving my body or meditation, for you maybe it's taking a walk, Maybe it's reading a smutty novel. Maybe it's cooking. Maybe it's just sitting and watching the Olympics with your spouse. Maybe it's sitting with your pet. Maybe it is doodling or writing. Whatever it is imperative in your duty as a soul on earth right now that you chose to incarnate here right now, by the way. I have to remind myself that, and you, that we chose to be here right now. And so it's on us right now to raise our vibration. That doesn't mean don't pay attention. That doesn't mean don't stand up for what you believe in. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is making sure that you are blocking in the time in your schedule to bring yourself back to a place where you can exist in equanimity and peace and not just a cloud of suffering all day, every day, because that is not helping you and that is not helping anybody else. And so what I would really love for this episode to do for you, other than listening to me be emotional about seeing the monks, is take a moment now to plan out 2 times in the next week, 3 or 4 if you're feeling spry, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of something that brings you joy, something that does not require expectation of outcome. So if it is drawing or painting or writing, you should fully be able to tear it up when you're done and not think a thing of it because it was about the experience. It is kind of cold, but if you want to stand outside in the sun for a few minutes, or if you want to just water your plants intentionally, I want you to plan out, again, 2 times minimum, 3 or 4 if you want more, and put it in your iCalendar, Google Calendar, Outlook, whatever you use. Put it in as an actual event so that you do it. And notice how you feel afterwards. Because I guarantee you that you will feel like you are vibrating at a higher frequency. And to me, this is why I do Soul and Spirit. This is why I am doing the work that I'm doing, because I believe that a lot of the fight and the most powerful resistance starts within. Now, again, that does not mean stay quiet. That does not mean don't speak up or take action. But it does mean that you start to fight from the inside out too. Because your actions and your speaking up will not do anything if you are moving from a low vibrational place. If you're moving from a low vibrational energy, like hate or anger. Anger can fuel the fire, sure, but you still need to twist that fire into the peace or the high vibrational energy of love for it to overcome what's happening in the world right now. So if you feel up to it, please message me. Let me know what you scheduled, how it goes. And the next episode will be a meditation of loving kindness. And so if you want that to be one of your things you schedule in, then you can do that too. Sending you all of the love and all of the peace and high vibrational, wildly amazing energy of that walk for peace with so much gratitude. Talk soon. Thanks so much for listening to Soul Inspirit. If this episode moved you, sparked something, or just made you feel a little more like yourself, I'd be so grateful if you left a review or shared it with someone you love. It helps more souls find this space and join us in raising the collective vibration. If you have questions, thoughts, or just want to share what came up, I'd love to hear from you. DM me on Instagram or email me anytime. Until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and keep showing up, because the real magic shows up when you do. With so much love, see you soon.